In the glamorous yet fragile world of Turkish television, there are few names that ignite as much passion and curiosity as Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir. Their story has long transcended the boundaries of a simple on-screen romance. What started as a fictional love story in a TV series quickly spilled into real life, creating waves of speculation, endless debates, and the kind of obsession usually reserved for legendary couples in cinema history. Fans across the globe, from Istanbul to Rome, Madrid to Buenos Aires, have carried their names like a banner of hope, believing in a love story that seemed too perfect to be confined to television scripts. When Can Yaman hosted a high-profile party to celebrate his return to Turkey and his recent career milestones, the event itself was already a magnet for attention. Paparazzi lined the entrance, fans gathered outside, and celebrities mingled inside, all under the glittering lights of Istanbul. Yet nothing could have prepared anyone for the surprise that followed. In a moment that stunned everyone, Demet Özdemir walked into the party. Her entrance was unexpected, bold, and powerful, sparking a chain reaction of whispers, gasps, and speculation. Those who witnessed it said the atmosphere shifted instantly. Before Demet's arrival, the party was like any other glamorous gathering: laughter, champagne glasses clinking, music echoing across the hall. But once she stepped through those doors, silence fell for a brief moment before the room buzzed with tension. People turned their heads, cameras discreetly flashed, and within seconds, the internet was ablaze with the news: Demet Özdemir had just appeared at Can Yaman's party. The choice of her appearance was as striking as her presence. Dressed in an elegant yet understated outfit, Demet radiated grace. She did not appear as someone looking to make a spectacle of herself, but rather as someone making a quiet, yet powerful statement. Those who saw her closely noted that she looked composed, though a subtle nervousness lingered in the way she held her posture, the way her eyes scanned the room until they found Can. And then, the moment fans had been waiting for, their eyes met. It was brief, but it carried the weight of years of unspoken words, unfinished emotions, and memories that never truly faded. Witnesses described it as electric, a connection that pulled them together even in a crowded room filled with flashing cameras and eager spectators. From that point on, the night was transformed. Can, who had been confidently moving around as the charming host, seemed to shift his focus entirely. His conversation shortened, his smile softened, and his attention was unmistakably drawn toward Demet. Guests noted that he kept glancing at her, almost unconsciously, as though her presence anchored him in a way nothing else could. When they finally spoke, the energy was undeniable. They laughed softly at something only they understood. They leaned in close during conversations, ignoring the curious stares around them. At one point, Demet tucked her hair behind her ear nervously while Can leaned just slightly closer, his body language radiating familiarity. It was in these subtle gestures that fans found the proof they had always believed: the connection between them had never truly disappeared. By the next morning, the story had exploded across media outlets worldwide. Headlines ranged from dramatic to hopeful. Turkish tabloids screamed about a surprise reunion, while Italian magazines framed it as the moment fans had been dreaming of. In Spain and Latin America, where their series had gained cult-like popularity, entertainment programs dedicated long segments to the night, playing clips of their on-screen romance alongside blurry photos from the party. Social media was in chaos. Fans flooded platforms with old edits of Can and Demet, pairing them with new images from the party to create emotional montages. Hashtags like #CanDemet and #RomanceRekindled trended for hours. Some fans wrote tearful messages about destiny, claiming that this reunion was fate's way of correcting past mistakes. Others were more skeptical, suggesting it might be a publicity stunt, though even skeptics admitted the body language between the two felt far too real to be staged. Television talk shows quickly joined the frenzy, inviting body language experts to analyze every smile, every touch, every glance exchanged between them. Analysts pointed out the subtle mirroring of their movements, the way Can leaned toward Demet without realizing, the way Demet smiled with her whole face when looking at him. These weren't the gestures of distant acquaintances, they argued, but of two people who shared a deep bond, perhaps one that had never been fully severed. The question on everyone's mind was simple yet profound: why now? Why would Demet choose this moment, this event, to reappear in Can's orbit? Some suggested it was purely professional, a symbolic gesture to support his return to Turkey. Others believed it was deeply personal, a decision driven by emotions that had lingered despite time and distance. Whatever the reason, one truth was undeniable: her presence reignited hope in millions of fans who never stopped believing in their love. And yet, both Can and Demet remained silent. Neither released statements, neither gave interviews, and neither addressed the speculation directly. Their silence, however, only fueled the fire. In the absence of words, fans filled the void with their own interpretations, believing that silence itself was an answer, that some emotions were too profound to be explained in interviews or press releases. This silence also gave their story a unique power. In a world where celebrities often use their private lives as tools for publicity, the absence of explanation felt authentic, raw, and real. It allowed fans to believe that what they had witnessed was not orchestrated but genuine. That authenticity is precisely why the night of the party struck such a deep chord in the hearts of so many. For Can, the timing of this reunion could not have been more symbolic. He had just returned to Turkey after years of chasing international success, a journey that had taken him far from his roots. His return was already emotional for fans who saw it as a homecoming. But the surprise presence of Demet at his celebration added an entirely new dimension, turning a professional milestone into what many interpreted as the beginning of a new personal chapter. For Demet, too, the decision to appear was significant. She had built her career on her own terms, proving herself in diverse roles and showing the world that she was more than just part of a famous on-screen couple. By arriving at Can's party, she risked reigniting old rumors, but she also reminded everyone that her story with Can was bigger than gossip. It was a story that touched lives, inspired fans, and represented something larger than themselves. The night became more than just a reunion. It became a reminder of how powerful human connections can be. Fans described it as watching destiny unfold before their eyes. Whether or not romance was truly rekindled, the symbolism was enough to make millions believe again. As days passed, the frenzy showed no signs of slowing down. Producers began whispering about the possibility of reuniting Can and Demet in a new project, knowing that the chemistry they shared was box office gold. Streaming platforms were rumored to be interested, sensing the global appeal of a love story that had already captured the world once. But beyond the speculation, the truth remained deeply personal. For Can and Demet, that night might have been nothing more than a shared smile, a fleeting moment, a brief reminder of what once was. Or it might have been the start of something new, a chance to rebuild what had been lost. The beauty of their story lies in its mystery. Fans may never know the full truth of what was said in those quiet conversations at the party. But perhaps that's what keeps the legend alive: the unanswered questions, the silences filled with meaning, the possibilities left open. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories are not the ones tied up neatly with answers, but the ones that leave room for imagination, for belief, for hope. And so, the night of Can Yaman's party will live on not just as an event but as a moment in history, one that reignited a global obsession, one that reminded people that love, no matter how complicated, has the power to return when you least expect it. Whether Can and Demet's romance has truly been rekindled or whether it was simply a fleeting spark, the impact is undeniable. Their names together once again lit up the world, proving that their story is not over, it never really was.